And good morning. It is 16 minutes after 8 o'clock, and joining us in studio, I think last time I spoke to this man officially in here, he was just a plain old principal. Now, Superintendent for the Roswell Independent School District, Brian Luck with us. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Yeah, be careful what you wish for.
That's true. Well, officially, congratulations.
Thank you.
I know I've told you this several times, but here on air, it's obviously, I'm sure a lot of people very happy with this choice, and it's great to see a person that's kind of been a part of the fabric of this community for a long time now, running the show here for the district. I mean, the board's picked to run the show. The board runs the
Absolutely.
district. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
But yeah, congratulations. That's great to see that.
Thank you.
So.
No, it's pretty neat. It's something that's been a while coming for me. I'm very, very humbled by it. It's lots of really good people have gone before me, and there's a lot of pressure too with being from here. And
you are a lightning rod.
Knowing the ins and outs, and I'm hoping to use as much of that to my advantage as I can versus it being a detriment. So
sure.
I'm excited, though. I'm very excited.
Well, and I think I love, and not that I'm saying that superintendents, a lot of them have experience, at teacher levels and things like that. But I think it's great because as the principal at Goddard High just your career in the RISD, the kids, that's a difference. There's a difference from. I'm not saying other things are bad things, but when you come from a theoretical world versus a world of actually doing it, I'm not saying there's wrong with theoretical, but sometimes you need the practical to work with the theoretical to actually make sure the theoretical's on target, and that experience isn't replaceable. And I think that's going to serve you well as a superintendent, where someone who's just done the theory side of it may not have as much experience doing that.
Well, I sure hope so.
Yeah.
that's the plan right now.
Well, let me ask, before we get to last night's meeting and everything, let's just talk about the school year. How's this transition? I know it's a weird start to a school year compared to what we've been going through, but we're having a start to the school year, everything. How has that process been going for the
Well, I tell you what, it is August, and we're up and running. I mean, it was so neat the other morning, first day of school, to see parents taking off work a little bit and walking their kids to school. Mm-hmm. I purposely drove through school zones this year, which was something totally different than I've ever done before.
Normally avoid them.
Yeah, and but to see the looks on people's faces, and I've said this before, that the community has an ebb and flow with the school year.
Mm-hmm.
And last August, when we didn't go back to face-to-face instruction, I mean, there was just something missing.
Yeah.
On lots of counts. And the hope right now is that pushes you through, and we start our year. August is by far not the start of any year, but it is. It's the start of a kid's year. And,
absolutely.
And
by default, kind of your family's year too.
It really does. It moves us through our fall activities,
mm-hmm.
and then on into winter and Christmas, and then obviously you start looking forward to spring, but it really just, it feels like it just kind of sets the tone for the community. You've
mm-hmm.
got particular events that are your benchmarks, and we're off and running. We've got all in-person learning going on right now at all of our schools.
Yeah.
We've got some virtual options that we can talk about those here in a little bit, but it was so neat walking into elementary schools, because I don't generally do that.
Yeah.
And just the energy.
Yeah, you spent a lot of time in the high school here.
Yeah, I did.
It's a different world in the elementary
yes,
school.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
But it is that energy that just miraculously appeared because of the first day of school
mm-hmm.
was really nice to see. And like I said, our teachers have been working hard. They didn't have a lot of a summer this year, and a lot of them, it seemed like, talking to them, they were kind of concerned that, okay, going back into this, would I have it, in the tank after such a short summer? And for what I've seen, I mean, they're knocking it out. I mean,
sure.
our people are back in. They're excited to have the kids back. We're working on, what does now normal look like
mm-hmm.
versus, like a regular year, what I would say a regular year. And we're sorting through that, but it is so nice versus sitting there going, okay, well, let's check out our computers this day and
sure,
and come by and get your packets. I mean, it's so nice just to say, hey, the doors will be open. we'll have you inside, and,
Yeah.
and we're back and running.
Yeah, and this is something, and I think I shared this with you last week when we were talking on the phone. I can't remember, but my wife, she's a second grade teacher. You know this.
Yes, sir.
I've told this on, but she's going into her 24th year now, and you're right. You're talking about it's great to see kids going into school. I mean, we can talk about masks and stuff all day, whether you like it, not like it, any of that stuff. That's a different debate, in my opinion. But what I mean is, it's great to see these kids in school and everything. And one of the things that I think once you think about it, you're like, of course. But one of these things we don't think about till it happens is, and this was something my wife shared with me, that this leans to, we got to get these kids back in school. And she was telling me she's a second grade teacher, so. Basically, when COVID started, those kids that she has right now, they were in kindergarten when all this started. And
Yes,
so
sir.
that kindergarten year got kind of botched up a little bit because the back half of that year, they just was a march on, it was done. And then so that got messed up. Last year, there was minimal time in classroom. A lot of it was online for the most part. So her second graders, this is really their first time, with the exception of that little stint in kindergarten where they've been in school for the whole year doing the procedures, and they don't know it because they haven't experienced it. And so my wife is in essence almost teaching them to be students in a school again, where it's like, oh, you got to learn the ropes, you got to walk in the line, you got to, all the procedures that are just part of every kid in elementary school experience. They haven't had it. So they got to learn it. And so that's another layer that we're now working on. And so I know everyone's got their points on masks and virtual and this and all that, but I don't care what you say, the kids need to be in school. And this is, and that's, whether they're wearing masks, not wearing masks, that's a different debate. They need to be in school. And this is putting that in that direction. And that's a good thing.
Well, I think you bring up a good point. I mean, you take 2 years. If you work in just whatever type of a job you work in, and we disrupt that 2 years, and then say, okay, now we're going to run back, it's hard.
Yeah,
I mean, and you've nailed a good point there with just basic day-to-day operations.
Yeah,
and it. The first of every year, you're going to have to reteach a little.
Sure.
But I cannot imagine that this isn't a year where you're having to kind of take a little bit extra time. And we've asked our teachers to kind of look at that as far as, going forward. Don't just assume that
it's learned behavior at this point.
That a regular year, because you're right. I mean, there's a lot of difference between a first grader and a third grader, or a third grader and a fifth grader, and we have, we've got kids at the high school level that were there a little bit last year, but that they never did get a chance to go look around.
Sure.
The mid school kids, we've talked a lot with the parents. They said, well, we didn't get a chance to do any of that kind of stuff, and we've relied really heavily on flexibility with the kids and just the resilience of the kids that show up, that they want to be there that bad that they're willing to make it work, and you can't overlook that.
Absolutely. Well, and it's a great thing when when you've got the kids invested desire to do that. I mean, especially when you get to your high school levels and things. And let's face it, teenagers are teenagers, and I don't care if we've all been one or going to be one, or you've at least parented one, and it's a challenge in a normal environment.
Oh yeah.
But with COVID and all the other wrinkles. It's great to see that they are fully invested as well in wanting to do that and because I'm sure they're tired of, what I mean? They're tired of let's face it, it is very nice comfort to know when you got your school, it's like, all right, I got this is like, what's ahead of you, and unfortunately for these students, and this is from kindergarten all the way to 12th,
right?
That's not guaranteed for them right now. And we want to make that, but let's face it, last 2 years, it's like, hey, how is it going to be? Well, I don't know. Maybe it's going to change. It depends on the world here. And there is that stability that's so important, I think, for kids' structure and schedule and learning and things like that. So to see them back in school, mask not, whatever people upset about that, at the end of the day, the win is the kids are in school, in classrooms, being taught by teachers in the same room and everything. And that's where we need to be.
I could not agree more with you. And like you said, there's some debate to be had on all fronts, and I'll let some of the powers that be have those debates.
That's why they get the big bucks, the election. But you're right. They're elected officials, and this is what the elected officials do.
I do know that as a parent, and we've talked about this quite a bit, that that gets to be their decision when they look at stuff like that, and then they need to weigh a lot of those. I don't want to say options, but they need to weigh for their decisions that they're going to make.
Sure.
The being in a room and having somebody. I mean, I've said this multiple times at different organizations. Teaching your kids is our job. That's what we signed up to do, and that's what we get the money for. And we just want the opportunity to do that. And last year with everything that happened and how our parents, boy, they didn't just chip in. I mean, they filled the void. They killed the vacuum there, kind of a deal. And that was super appreciated. And now it's our job again. Yeah. And that's what, my hope is that we'll get that opportunity to continue to do that job.
Absolutely. And but people keep being involved. Keep being, that your children will not succeed without your parents' involvement in that. The teachers will do everything they can to help them through, but without that home support from the family working and helping on that side, it's you always hear the take a village and all the cliches and everything, but it's legit. Everybody's got to do their part to make it happen.
And I'm kind of curious as to how this year plays out with so many parents and grandparents and neighbors, having to get involved.
Sure.
I'm kind of curious as to what a general evening looks like now with a student that comes home and the parents will say, "Well, do you have any homework tonight?" or something like that, and the kid says no. Immediately a lot of the parents can go back to last year and say, "No, last year, come here, open up," and I'm kind of curious as to what
those excuses won't fly no more.
I'm wondering, and what could that be like with everybody kind of on the same page?
Absolutely, yeah. It's when everyone's involved in that kind of stuff and looking out for each other and helping each other, it's a good thing.
Yeah, so absolutely.
Well, let's kind of talk about the school board did meet last night. It was a well-attended, popular meeting because of the resolution vote about the mask. Now, this resolution, it's not. And correct me if anything I'm saying here is wrong on this, but basically, what the board's saying it's not. They're not dictating a policy that, yes, we're going to put masks or not put masks on. Basically, they're sending a resolution to the governor stating that we believe that we should be making local decisions best on. That's basically
right.
It's not. I mean, the mask is the catalyst for this resolution, obviously, but we're not. It's not a resolution saying no. We're not going to force kids to wear masks. We just want the ability to make that decision ourselves.
Right.
And that's basically what they were discussing last night. And of course, the public came out in droves to share their opinions with, which is a good thing. I will never. That's exactly what this is for. And for the most part, I think from what I heard, I caught some. I didn't catch all of it, but I caught a hunk of it online. And for the most part, most people were passionate, but were polite. There was a few times where they kind of had to settle things down a little bit, but for the most part, most people were passionate but behaved. So
absolutely, and and this is going to sound kind of funny, but I want to say thank you to the people that came out.
Yeah,
and I mean that. I mean that is what this system is for. And I don't think anybody got up there and didn't represent our town well. Or what their beliefs that they were passionate about.
Sure.
And I appreciate them doing that. I think that anytime you get to something like this, and it's been a while, we've rocked along pretty good as a district, and really as a town without any kind of a major hot button event that sets people into this kind of a place. But they came in, they were respectful. They listened. They participated in the process. I think our board has stepped forward and done a good job. We'll see where we wind up with this. There's several school districts around the state that are moving in this general direction. And it does. It comes back to local control. And that was pretty much the sentiment that was echoed by just about everybody there. We did have some people that, ironically, probably would have been arguing local control the other direction.
Yeah.
And I've talked to more than my fair share of people that have said, regardless which way you want to go, we do think that it should be a decision made here by this entity.
And I agree with that.
And I think going forward, I like the ball that's started rolling. Really,
Sure.
It's going to sound weird to a lot of people just because, I mean that got intense a couple times.
Sure.
But I don't ever feel like it got to that point where you were just like, man, this is something we're going to see on the internet.
Sure. Yeah, you're right. All right. Is this going to be on the world's dumbest, thing? You see those things, but no, it didn't turn out that way. Good.
Yeah.
Obviously. It's something. This is my opinion, my 2 cents. This is just me, not the express of anybody. Me outside looking in, and I see this, and I look at the situation. I understand people are passionate about this. This is your children. You're. I know it. Parents are going to fight to the death for their kids. That's
absolutely
that's the way it should be. However, when we talk, like you look at what's going on with the Floyd School Board, and everyone saw what happened there, and they're no longer they're done. And I mean, what more is coming of that? Who knows? But that's where they're at right now. And I guess my thought is, I'm like, I understand. We want abuse of power. We want to make sure we address that and things like that. I get that. I'm also pick your battles. And what I mean by that is maybe our children's not the battleground for that kind of thing. When our elected officials in city, county levels have mass mandate problems, issues in these public yes, fight the governors on these things. But when we get to a point where we're in a classroom, and at the end of the day, after all the fighting's done, after everyone decides who's right and who's not right, who's getting hurt the most? The kids. And not that I'm saying we shouldn't fight for kids and all that, but to defy the governor in that way through that conduit, I don't know. I think at the end of the day, the only person that suffers is the kids. And that's why I'm a little bit apprehensive about choosing that avenue to fight this fight. I understand there's going to be a lot of people that disagree with me on that and everything else. And God, me personally, I'm like, I don't know if the casualties involved here is worth that fight. I'd rather use this same fight and use it in a level where we're not, at the end of the day, the only people that are putting themselves in line are the elected officials and the folks that are passionate about it, not kids that are going to miss out on education. And I don't care what you say. We need our school board. We don't want the PED running the show here for Roswell, New Mexico. We want our people here running it. And if they do the way of Floyd, then guess what? We're going to have the PED all over us doing everything. And you think you're upset about things now. Wait till someone from somewhere else is telling you how to do things that has no idea how we do things here. And that's a problem. And at the end of the day, the kids are going to suffer because of that. So that's my opinion. I know other people disagree with me and all that, and Brian, as a superintendent, probably is not going to share on all that because, but I mean that's just my opinion, and I get your passion, I get everything, but think about your end game sometimes too, and what happens and what becomes of that. So,
well, and That's quite the monologue to follow there.
Sorry, I just wanted, when I hear this kind of stuff, and I get it, I understand.
Yeah.
I know there's passions and everything. I'm just like, pick your battles on these, and this is one that I don't know if the consequences of those results are worth it on this one.
Well, I would say this, and we have looked into the other districts. Ironically, everybody's following what's going on with Floyd, and we're no different. Out of curiosity, I did ask the superintendent of Floyd. I said, just out of curiosity, in the meanwhile, are the kids wearing masks?
Yeah.
And the answer was yes, they're wearing masks. And so I just said, okay, because that man's got more on his plate than I can even fathom right now. So
Sure.
I just kind of stepped back.
Sure.
But what I would say is that at the end of the day, it is a business that we're running right now, and I was hired to run the business and to keep it open.
Mm-hmm.
And there's parameters that go with it on any direction that you want to go.
Mm-hmm.
We answer to people as well, so there's parameters there.
Mm-hmm.
And there are I don't say consequences,
Mm-hmm.
but there's mechanisms and there's manners by which we stay open.
Mm-hmm.
And my duty, I feel like, to the school board is to keep the doors open and to try to run as fast as I can to stay in front of whatever we can to do so.
Mm-hmm.
We answer to the PED as well. And again, I want to try to do whatever we can to keep our kids there.
Mm-hmm.
I do understand that maybe your kids, in some people's opinions, maybe that's kind of the final straw.
Mm-hmm.
And I get it. I mean, boy, you could hear the passion last night, and some of those families I felt for them, because I'm just like, I wonder what else has happened.
Mm-hmm.
And I just felt like this might have been the last straw.
Mm-hmm.
And I get it.
Yeah.
And I get it.
Yeah.
And I also know that, we still have a job to do.
Yeah.
And I look forward to what's going to come out of this. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
Because
we need a resolution.
Well,
we need and you need guidance, and we need we got to move on with the job of educating children.
Well, and I go back to the comment earlier about the ebb and flow of the year, and one of the last things that I want out of this is for whatever reason or any reason, for them to come in and say, we're done. We're going to shut down all schools for X number of days.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't heard that. That's not even been a rumble or an inkling, but it's been done before.
Sure.
And like I said, I've the meetings that I've been in with the state secretary of ed, and even our new state secretary of education, they've all committed that they want the doors open, and this I would do it, and we'll cross all these other bridges and get it done.
Sure. And that's and to be honest, that's what the school board, the school district does, and that's and I know just with my wife and everything, and down to the teachers, it's like, yeah, you get handed a deck of cards. And you play the hand you're dealt, and that's what they're doing. And they're taking the things, agree, disagree, like, don't like, and they're making it happen to make sure our kids have the best opportunities when they walk through those doors.
Right.
And that's what they're doing. And I appreciate, and I get, like you said, I understand. I understand completely. People are mad. I understand they want to do something and fight. I agree. I'm the same way. But I also look and I'm thinking, is this the battleground? I mean, we could go other avenues. Maybe, this is where the city and county and those elected officials get involved with some of these mandates and things like that. And I just, because I'm worried that what's going to happen is if you go scorched earth, which is kind of what the Floyd thing's a little bit like, I'm afraid you're going to reap what you sow there, and our kids are we willing to sacrifice that for our kids? And I'm not sure. My answer is yes on that. I understand some people disagree with me, but I just don't know if my answer is yes on that. And then again, that's my opinion, and that's me only. I know other people, and I want to say that too. I get it.
Right.
People disagree with me, and I understand what you're saying, and what a lot of these passions are about. And I'm just like, be careful. That's all I'm saying. Is like, be careful. There are consequences for this. Are you fully aware of that?
Well, I think everybody has a that point. And it could be, it will be different for different people again, because, like I said, we have no idea what others have gone through to get to the spot where they're at.
Sure.
And like I said, I think the process plays itself through. And last night was, I guess for all intents and purposes, the official start of that process, and we're looking forward to seeing what comes from it.
Yeah.
And too, while all this is going on, August is going to transpire, and we're going to get into September. We start sports next week.
We're weeks away. Yeah, we're days away. I say week. We're days away.
We've got some soccer games next week, and then we start up with the rest of our fall sports, our football and our volleyball, and
next Friday.
And I mean this. That those things are they're on the table. And just because we've got them scheduled, and just because everything's moving forward, doesn't mean that something doesn't happen that stops. And so I think,
and if I remember, any outdoor sports and events and things, you're not required to wear masks and things. So
Correct.
that's so football games Friday night. You're out in the soccer pitch wherever. You're as of right now, you're good to go.
As of let's see, as of
8:41.
8:41. Yeah, and I think that's another thing is if something does change, and let's say we have to maybe get a little more with our mask, and that's not the people that's running the tickets gate. That's not their fault.
Exactly.
And again, even last year we had when we started with our sports. I had family that missed my daughter's entire volleyball season because they couldn't go to an inside game here in town.
Yeah.
And they could, we could watch it on video, and it's not the same.
It's not.
But my number's posted. I'll take it. I'll be more than happy to hear it.
Sure. It's well, you got to do you're given a set of circumstances and you make the best of it. And that's what last year was for all of us. But we got great stuff going on this year, and it's great to see that kids are in school. We're days away from talking about high school sporting events and things, and we're going to be doing all the things that we're normally supposed to be doing in the fall here pretty soon, and that
should feel really good.
Yeah. We don't have a lot of time, but there was other things discussed last night besides the whole resolution here. Let's talk a little bit about some of the other highlights that happened last night. We want to make sure the public's
I
aware
think the biggest one that I want to hit real quick is we did approve the collective bargaining agreement with REA.
Yes.
Which sets the Roswell School District really in a phenomenal spot to attract and to retain teachers. I've had several people that have seen the salary scale and said, so you're telling me if I came back? And the answer is yes, and please.
I will tell you for a fact. I'm not going to talk numbers.
Okay.
But my wife, this is her 24th year. She does have a master's degree. She has her dossier. She's at the highest levels that she can be as far as the pay scale of her. But with the pay increase, I'm pretty sure this is the biggest jump in salary she's had. I don't know if but certainly in a normal without a promotion like it's a significant increase. It's much. I'm happy too because I live there and now I got a sugar mama. Just kidding, but but no, it was a significant increase. I don't know about all levels and how it all broke out, but I know from that highest level, that's a good jump, a big jump compared to what it used to be.
And the numbers vary across the board.
Yeah.
The REA, NEA, along with district representatives, sat down and cleaned up the scales. There was multiple columns and multiple pages, and they looked at it and said, you know what, this would be cleaner and it would be a more user-friendly method. And the big one right now, and it was mentioned last night, was we've said that we value our teachers, and I do feel really confident that last night we kind of put our money where the mouth, our money where our mouth is, but that is the intent. We do know that we are in major competition to retain our teachers, and to attract, We've long, been in battles with other communities around here to keep them.
And let's face it, there's been communities nearby that have almost gone. You're like, wait a minute, you're going over the scale here. Well, you're cheating.
They advertised in our paper. They've had a scale that has been not just sort of
a little cutthroat.
Attractive. And you know what? And it's paid dividends for them. They've attracted teachers, and our hope right here is that you're valued here. And because you're valued, we want to give you what we can.
Absolutely.
Not sure what that'll look like for a few years down the road. I mean, as somebody that's been in the business a while, and your wife has, you do know that these come around not very often, but when they do come around, hopefully you can take advantage of it. And like you said, with that working there in the scale, hopefully we can get another 8 or 9 years out of that.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, my wife's going to be here for a few more. I think she'll do her 30. I think that's her goal.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I think she's going to.
But that's what we're looking for,
yeah.
and hopefully we can retain the teachers, and we know we're going to need them. I mean, we talked about the 2-year loss a second ago, and that's something we're gonna have to face.
Yeah, it's you're right. It's this is a problem. We're gonna, we need qualified people, and you got to it's just like everything else in life. You get what you pay for, and to attract quality, to attract good people, you've got to make it a great incentive here. And I know, between the partnerships with the city and the county and the school district, because let's face it, it takes more than a big income to attract teachers to our area. They look at the stats, they look at what's it like to live here and all that stuff. And so I know you guys have been working hand in hand with the community to be that, because let's face it, it's the hospital industry is doing the same thing as you guys have, even law enforcement. I mean, they're all trying to attract people to our area. And let's face it, in the COVID world, help wanted signs are everywhere, and it's a very competitive market right now, and for anything, not just teachers, just for everybody.
Yeah, well, and you take somebody that's in any kind of an industry or business, and they're looking to relocate to Roswell, and maybe, whether it's a husband or a wife or, whichever member of the spouse that is, and you look at the salary scale for the district, it can only help. It can only entice. And
I imagine with some of those, because teachers come in pairs sometimes.
Yes, sir.
A lot of husband and wife teacher combos there, and so you get so, by the way, while we're talking, if you yourself are interested in a career in education, please go to the Roswell Independent School District website. I know you guys had the job fair about a couple weeks ago here. And at that time, you guys were looking for all positions. I imagine there's still quite a few positions.
We still have positions open. We filled, ironically, that little job fair that kind of came out of a whim. We grabbed about 4 people that
qualified
applicants that jumped into that. We do still have vacancies, and we're actively pursuing that. It is on our website, the links to that. And if more questions, please don't hesitate to contact the district.
And it's every department from, your food service, janitorial stuff to substitute,
everything,
grade level teachers, subject to the whole nine.
Substitute security guards, substitute custodians, cafeteria teachers, you name it.
If it's a position in the school district, odds are there's a department that has openings for it. It's the way of the world right now.
That's right.
But, and of course, don't forget, if going to the RISD website, you can watch the school board meetings. You can go back and check them out. They're archived there. They got several years worth of, they've been doing the videos for years now. So they got a couple, 2-3 years worth of videos there. Not that you're going to want to go and watch them from 3 years ago, but you could if you wanted. And of course, if you missed last night's meeting, you can go back and catch all the information. And sometimes that's good to do, especially in a meeting like that where there's a lot of people and a lot of talking. Sometimes important decisions get kind of missed in the shuffle there. And so if you missed any of that, you can go back and
it's online
there. So is there anything, Brian, we missed we wanted to share?
No, I think, that, like I said, there was a lot that happened last night.
Yeah.
And I think you just nailed it a second ago, is don't miss the bigger pictures, and let the process work itself through.
Sure.
And, as an entity, if somebody doesn't feel like it's moving in the direction that they felt like it needed to move, there's mechanisms by which to go about it.
Absolutely.
And again, I just want to commend the public, because, like I said, that didn't have to go as well as it did.
Yeah.
And I really do think that it went fairly well.
Absolutely. And I think everyone that wanted to speak got that chance to speak. Everybody, the public, the board, everybody. I think I heard everyone that wanted to chime in got the time to chime in and say their piece. And at the end of the day, that's a good thing, because you put it on the record, you know what's going on, and that's why it's so important, is doing. I mean, be passionate, be strong, show up, do these things, but let's not forget, we all live on the same patch of dirt here. We're all on the same team. I know it doesn't feel like it sometimes, but every single person in that room last night wants the best for your children. Every single person, you know what I mean?
I do.
And we've got, I get it. We get mad, we get passionate, and just don't let that ruin the progress you're trying to make. You don't let the emotion ruin the good work you're doing. Keep your nose on the grindstone there, and professionalism, and it'll get you a long way. Trust me.
That's the plan.
Yeah. Awesome. Is there anything we missed?
I think we're good.
Well, I'm sure you got about 20 different fires to put out here, so we'll let you go do that.
Awesome.
And we're gonna Brian, superintendent, he's going to join us every Wednesday after school board meetings. obviously we'll adjust if the school board meeting isn't on a Tuesday night and it gets moved or something. But that's the plan going.
That's the plan.
Here.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. And of course, anytime we need you need on to just and it doesn't kind of fall in those schedules, but we got events or certain things. Please,
You bet. Absolutely.
send me over.
And thank you. And thank you for the support of the station and also, just
Well, we love our partnership with the RISD.
Y'all
and we
done a
love,
great job.
We love. I know we were glad to help as much as we could. I know it wasn't a perfect world, but start videoing as much of the sports and things and doing all. And
y'all were lifesavers last year when it came to that.
we're going to be streaming a lot this year. But I can tell you this right now. I know since you guys can go to games and things outdoors, we're not going to be able to stream a lot of the middle school games and things that we were doing. We don't have the resources or bodies to do that, but you can go to those games now. So please go and support. I don't care what you said. The kids, they love watching the videos, and you're watching their videos. That they want you in the stands. They want you cheering for them right there. I can yell all I want in my living room. They don't hear it, so it doesn't help.
Well, activity tickets will go on sale soon. I mean, again, that return to what normal looks like. That's our plan.
Yeah, and then get your face paint and your pom poms ready, and start rooting on our respective schools.
There you go.
There you go. Awesome. Well, thank you, sir.
Yes,
As
sir.
always, appreciate it, and we'll see you next time. Good to see you're still in peace here after a couple months here, holding up. Poor guy, he got hired for the job, got thrown right into the fire here, huh?
It's all good.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. All right, 8:52, quick news update and break before, more news. Don't go away.